Three, two, one.
1. Hello, welcome to Background Noise.
This is a podcast about literally anything and can be listened to while you're doing literally anything.
We're just two best friends who love to talk. My name is Casey.
My name is Eric. We're still new to this whole podcast thing, so we're going to be a little weird.
But we're weird anyway.
We both love background noise while doing homework,
Cleaning,
cooking,
showering,
and going to sleep.
just to name a handful.
So if you'd like, listen for background noise or pay really close attention.
Do whatever feels comfortable to you.
Today's episode, we are going to be talking about our worst injuries or things related to injuries. We thought this would be fun because we've both had like a handful of injuries, and they're not just like, oh no, I bumped my elbow, ow. Which definitely had that happen, but the ones that we are running to talk about are all very
Not great.
not just minor injuries.
Yours are worse though, I feel like.
I don't know. Maybe a couple of mine are equal to your worst one.
I guess.
My first big injury or something similar to that would have to be back in 9th grade. I was in my foods class and my nose started bleeding. And so I asked the teacher, I was like, I didn't even ask. I was just like, hey, I gotta go to the bathroom. Like my nose is bleeding. I gotta go to the bathroom. She's like, oh, no worries. So I go to the bathroom and it was pretty close to that room. I get in there and it just starts, this is kind of gross, but it's a bloody nose, so whatever. But it started gushing out of my nose. Like I've never seen that much blood, but coming out of my face of all places, like your arm is like bad, but your face, like there's nothing you can do. But I went to the sink and I was just letting it drain in the sink because where am I supposed to go? Put it in the trash can? I'm not kidding when I say this was a ridiculous amount of blood pouring.
It's raining
think of
blood.
Ew. It was. But think of a normal bathroom sink, just a sink basin, and it filled up completely full of my blood from my nose. The whole sink. And the sink wasn't draining because the sink's there it's a junior high, so people would put stuff you can't put in a sink. They would put paper towels and it would clog the pipes. So it wasn't draining, but I'm still my nose is bleeding like crazy. I'm literally cupping my hands under when I move to the other sink and that one starts filling up. And I'm okay, I gotta go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I go to a urinal, which why I did that, I don't know. But I was I just gotta get this somewhere else. That obviously was starting to fill. I'm not kidding. It was this much blood. I wish I had taken a picture. I wish that was in my brain. Take a picture.
Yeah.
Who would I want to show that to? That's so gross. I would have for sure shown you. Posted it on this. But then I went to the toilet and it was just not stopping. And I called my dad so I'm over the toilet and it's pouring in the toilet. And somebody walks in because the lunch bell just rang. A couple people walked in and they're like, oh my gosh, because there's blood all over the sink, in the urinal, in the toilet. The ground was full of blood.
Why did you go to the urinal?
Because I didn't know what to do. That was I think the first place I went. I was that's stupid.
Scene.
It looked like one, but it was overflowing out of my hands, my cupped hands.
Oh
so it was all over the ground.
Ugh.
And at this point, I called my dad. And I was like, what do I do? What do I do? I don't know what to do because... What are you supposed to do? I was come and pick me up from school. He was at work. And I was come and pick me up. I don't know what to do. And he was okay, I'll be there. And I just hung up. He wasn't helping. I was okay, thanks, bye. He's get up towards the office, which I don't know if you've been in my junior high, but
I have been in your junior high.
We literally went to the same junior high. I was thinking high school, but junior high, sorry. Yeah, we literally went to junior high together. I was in the very back bathroom by the foods. And to go to the one up by the office, that's so far.
That is far.
With a bloody nose.
So you're just
I'm just and so I do it. I kind of run and people are seeing me. Nobody was in the hall at this point because everyone was up at the lunch. But a couple people would walk by. I'm oh my gosh, are you okay? I'm no. And I'm leaving a trail of blood down the hall. I'm not kidding.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing.
Trail of blood down the hallway. And I get to the other bathroom and I'm just in there and that sink is draining. And so, because I was not going to get on the ground and put my face by a toilet. Sorry, that's not happening. If it's my house, sure, because it's clean.
Yeah.
At least somewhat clean. They are not at a junior high.
This story, I don't know why it's just funny.
It is funny now. It was not funny when it was happening, but it finally stopped. And I was like, thank heavens. And my dad got there and it was just had barely finished. But like,
Oh my gosh.
I feel bad for whoever went into those bathrooms that day to clean them because it was so bad.
It's
like
a whole on handprints on the wall.
Yeah, there would have been. There was probably footprints of blood. I'm not
Down
even
the hallway
joking.
too.
But what's even funnier is I found out why. It's because in the spring, like my nose gets, I don't know if it was spring or winter, but it was like allergy based. So I was trying to stop my nose from being super dry because my nose gets super dry, and then run. And it was so annoying, like the allergy season.
Yeah.
So I was taking this to help my nose from to clear it out. But that also dries it. So it was super runny, but this dries it. But it dried it enough that it started bleeding because it was too dry, because it was a nasal spray. Never used it again. I literally just threw it in the trash once I got home because I was like thinking, what could have caused this? What could have caused this? And my mom and I realized, oh my gosh, it's your nasal spray. That was only the second time I had used it. I immediately threw it away. It was bad. But the next day, I went back to school. And my friend was like, oh my gosh, did you see the trail of blood down the hallway? And I was like, yeah, that was my blood. And she's like, what? But I was like, yeah, and I explained the story. And she's like, that's insane. But that was my blood nails at school. And I'm really not being dramatic. I've never seen that much blood come out of anything, especially your face. How did I not pass out? It was probably getting close because it was bleeding for probably 5 minutes straight, gushing.
You didn't pinch your nose.
I tried asking my dad what to do, and he wasn't answering me.
So I don't know.
He's like, I don't know. He's like, don't lean back. And I was like,
yeah, because you can, we'll get
go down your throat. Yeah.
And that's disgusting.
That is disgusting.
But yeah, you just lean forward, pinch right where, because you know where the bone is? Mm-hmm. Right there.
That makes me so uncomfortable to do right now. Yeah, so that was my first one.
All right. So I just remembered one, and I was in 3rd grade. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my 3rd grade class had a portable, so we had to line up outside our portable after recess and lunch and stuff. Mm-hmm. So we were lining up, and there was bees around because it's a giant metal box. They're gonna find a place to live.
Bees love those places.
I know. And so I'm just lined up, and a bee comes, lands on me, stings me right on the eyelid.
Are you kidding me?
No. Stings me on the eyelid. And I'm screaming and crying because that hurts, and it's in a sensitive area.
Yeah, your eye, literally your eye.
And so I had to go to the nurse's office, and she's like, "Are you allergic to bees?" And I'm like, "No."
Well, you don't even know until the second time you've been okay.
Before.
That's stressful.
Well, there was one time a bee or a wasp flew up my sleeve and stung me 5 times.
Are you kidding?
No.
Because wasps can sting multiple times before dying.
Yeah. And that was horrible, but that's kind of off topic.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I went to the nurse's office, and she's like, "Are you allergic to bees?" And she's freaking out. And I'm like, "No, I'm not." And she's like, "I need to call your mom." And I'm like, "I literally just told you, you don't need to call my mom." She calls my mom, and she's like, is she allergic to bees? She just got stung. And my mom's like, "No, she's not allergic to bees."
I have a injury, 1st grade, a bee sting. I was at the playground, and they love the heat, and they love being under those things.
Yep.
But you played down there, and the bee stung my middle finger, so it was literally stuck up. So I was flipping everyone off, which I was in 1st grade. I didn't know what it meant, but I knew it wasn't good. I knew the middle finger didn't mean a good thing. I remember going home and being like, everyone was saying I was flipping them off, but it was not. Yeah. Obviously not on purpose, but it was funny because that was my first time being stung. Being stung was my middle finger in 1st grade. I also wet my pants in 1st grade at school.
Really?
Unrelated to this, but yeah, because I was raising my hand. It was she's like, wait for me to finish. I need to go to the bathroom. So I ended up peeing my pants, but my mom worked at the school. And so I went to the office and told them, and they called her down, and it scared her. She thought I got hurt. They called my mom, they said her name over the intercom, and were like, your son needs you at the office. And she thought I got hurt on recess, at recess, and I didn't. So she just took me home, and I changed, and I think I came back. Or might have stayed home, I don't know. But Yeah, that's not an injury, but I just reminded me a few summers ago, I was at my cousin's house and we were jumping on the trampoline and we would jump up and like high five each other like this. So we jump, high five like both of our hands together.
A double high five.
A double high five, yeah. And I had braces. So we jumped and missed hands and slipped. So we hit each other's face really hard because we're
with
jumping
your
back
hands
and
or
going
your
like
faces?
this. Our hands.
Oh, okay.
So because our hands slipped and our hands hit each other's faces. I had braces, and on your canine top teeth, they put a bracket that has a little wire poking above it for bands.
Mm-hmm.
Well, those went through my lip, like up into my lip, all the way. Like it pierced holes in my lip.
Oh my gosh.
And it hurt a lot. Like I literally ran out of the trampoline and ran inside, and like my parents and my aunt and uncle are like talking on the couch, and I just run past them into the bathroom. And they're like, "What's happening?" Like as I'm running, they're still stuck. Like it's not like I pulled them back out. Like they're stuck in my lip.
Yeah.
So I get to the bathroom and I literally like yank them out. Like I pull my lip up and yank it out, which hurts so bad, and they're bleeding.
Oh no.
Because it's up your lip. I mean, it was bad. That wasn't even the worst part of this. Maybe 5 or 6 days later, I was back at my grandma and grandpa's at that point. We were visiting them, and I was sleeping, and I woke up and was getting up for the day and bumped my chin like underneath, which unfortunately, the way my lips were placed, like right then, so they were kind of already placed like where they went through. So me hitting that made the brackets go back in.
Oh.
But it had been healing for a week, so it was almost completely healed.
Uh-huh.
Let me tell you, if you're almost done healing something and something goes back in through, the healing pain is way worse. Like that hurt 20 times worse than the first time I pierced it because it was healing, and it's like so extra sensitive because it's like, I don't know, new nerves or something, like something.
Yeah.
It's brand new. It hurt. That I didn't cry the first time, I don't think. That time I cried because it was that bad. Like it's probably the worst pain I've ever felt.
Wow.
Like I can still, like thinking about it, I can remember the pain.
My next one is gonna be about my abscess. And when I was a little kid, and on my hip there was like it kind of looks like a pimple.
Yeah.
Like I noticed it, and I'm like, "What is this?" And so I was showing my mom and dad because so my dad wanted to pop it, and so he's trying to pop it, and nothing's like really coming out because it's like, I think a little bit of stuff came out when he popped it. So we thought it was done and over with, and it was still there. And I was like showing them again. It's like, it's not going away. So my mom made me a doctor's appointment to go get it checked out.
Right.
And they like, oh, that's an abscess, so we need to like treat it. And they had to like cut open. Like, I don't know if they cut it open, but somehow they got it
like
open.
Drained it.
Yeah, they had to drain it. Had to go a few times, and we went back, and my doctor wasn't there. And they were just gonna have somebody, like nurse, I guess, go. But there was this lady who had helped with it, helped my doctor with it.
Yeah.
Like putting the gauze in it and like draining it and stuff. I was like so scared as a little kid, and I'm like, I need a teddy bear.
Oh.
And the doctor literally went out, got a teddy bear, and put a little circular Band-Aid on the teddy bear's hip.
Oh.
And I still have it.
That's so cute.
I know. And then, so yeah, there was like this older lady that helped him with it. And when we had to go back and get this like gauze pulled out, I was scared it was gonna hurt because like pulling. So the lady was in the waiting room. Anyway,
the lady was in the waiting room.
Yeah, the lady was in the waiting room, and I had seen her, and I'm like, we went in for my like appointment to get it pulled out, and I was freaking out. I was like, I will not let anyone do it except that lady in the waiting room because she helped my doctor. And they had to literally go ask her to do it. She came in and did it, and my mom's like, I'm so sorry. And she's like, no, it's okay. Obviously, I had to throw some sort of fit for them to actually go get her.
And a one that I just thought of while you were saying that one that I had forgotten about, but is actually the reason that I was afraid of needles for a really long time. I'm not anymore like that. When we would have been 5, I guess, there was a swine flu going around. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember
Okay.
anything.
Well, it was a special flu, and you couldn't just go to the doctor's office to get a flu shot. But for this one, it was a special type of flu. So we went actually to the convention center or whatever by your house.
Oh.
Whatever that's called.
The clinic?
No, like where they hold the rodeo.
Really?
Yeah.
The fairgrounds?
Yes, that's what it is. We went to the fairgrounds.
That's weird. That's the weirdest place ever.
It's because they needed a room. There was like it was a special type, so they just like did it there. It was really weird. I don't know why. It was like a bad flu though, really bad type of flu. When you're little, you get the little shot in your leg. Mm-hmm. Like now, as an adult, you get it in your arm.
Yeah.
Usually, when you get a shot, almost exclusively the nurse does it, because the nurse
is more
practiced. They know how to do things like they're much better with those type of things than a doctor. For whatever reason, the doctor was doing it on me, and so you know how they like twist the stuff onto the syringe and then do the syringe. Well, as he's like preparing it, so the needle and like the stuff in it just fell and jabbed in my leg. I'm like 4 or 5 at this, and the needle fell out and jabbed in my leg, and it hurt so bad. Like I started crying. Obviously, I probably would now. Yeah. It was bad, and I literally was afraid of needles for probably a decade after that.
Well,
not till I was 15, but at least till I was 12. Like I would cry and freak out.
So because I for the longest
literally
time.
dropped a needle on me. Like it hurt so bad. It jabbed into my leg.
Did it have stuff in it?
Well, it was like connected to the, I don't know. It wasn't just the needle. It was like everything but the syringe part.
Well, that reminded me of why I was afraid of needles.
Okay.
Because you know, I don't know if you remember, but when you're a little kid, you have to go to the doctor because like for your checkups, and they prick your finger. Yeah, they would prick your finger.
Oh, to draw blood?
Yeah. And I remember that because it was so traumatic for me. I don't know why. And I thought it would hurt. Mm-hmm. And so many people probably don't feel like that. It really hurts. But I would cry because it would hurt so bad. And that's why I was afraid of needles.
That reminds me of one. I just wrote it down, actually. For kindergarten, you have to go get a ton of things tested.
Yeah.
You get a ton of shots throughout school, like you were saying, but especially for kindergarten. I went and did that, and they weigh you. They draw your blood. I had no problem with them pricking my finger and taking my blood. And they wanted me to pee in a cup. And I lost it. I had a meltdown fit, like screaming, crying on the ground. I was not going to pee in a cup. That was too much. Take my blood all you want. Weigh me all you want. Do all these other checkups they make you do, shots, whatever. Peeing in a cup? Not going to happen. Like, I don't even remember what happened. Like, obviously I must have done it at some point. Mm-hmm. But I was like, my parents tell the story all the time because I think it's so funny. I literally threw a fit on the ground because I didn't want to pee in a cup. Like that was too much. Why would I pee in a cup? And so that reminded me of your thing of like going to prick your finger. And I was like, I had no problem doing that, but I could not pee in a cup. Like that's so weird.
That's funny.
Of all things.
I just remembered. Oh yeah, I remembered. So because you just said those like main times you go and get shots, and I think I hadn't gotten this one, and it was the meningitis one. But it was the first meningitis one, and I got it. I got the meningitis one. It hurt so bad, like worse than a COVID shot.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about those.
Yeah, and like couldn't move my arm at all. Or like if I just like barely move it, it hurt. And it made me so sick.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't eat anything.
Oh my gosh.
Like sick, like flu-like sick. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't eat anything. I was trying to get over it. Who likes being that sick? Nobody. No one. So I took like a hot shower to like make me feel better.
Right. Which is usually a great option.
Mm-hmm. And I hadn't eaten anything for who knows how long. A few days. Like a day, not a few days. But I got in the shower and it was on hot. And so the hot made my blood like out of my brain all of a sudden. Because, you know, like when you're going to pass out when you stand up too fast. I literally passed out in the shower. The faucet had scraped my back.
Oh my gosh.
And I landed with a big thump. And my mom comes running in because she was just out there, I guess. And she came running in. She's like, Casey, are you okay? And I could hear her, but my vision was completely black.
Oh my gosh.
But I could hear her.
You could hear her?
Yeah, but I could hear her.
Because you're passed out.
Yeah.
You're basically completely passed out. Unconscious.
Yeah. And I was, but I think I was slowly coming to, and that's why I could hear her, because she took her a second to get in.
But you're just not fully.
Yeah, and my vision finally comes in, and I'm like, yeah, I just haven't eaten anything. She was like, what, can I make you something? And I was like, yeah, can you make me an egg sandwich? And she made me an egg sandwich. But, like, my back was scraped.
You were older. I think you were probably 15, because it was when we were texting often.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we were texting every day, which has been since we were 15, almost 16. But that would have been high school.
Uh-huh.
Because I remember you texting me, like, I just fell in the shower. I was like, what? What do you mean? Are you okay? Because I remember you texting me. It was scary. Yeah.
And that was like...
Well, because the thud that happens when you're in a shower is the... I mean, have you ever dropped a shampoo bottle?
And it's loud.
Like, chonk, chonk. And you're like,
oh. That's funny. But, yeah, I've passed out a few times. And I think I have an iron deficiency, because anytime I stand up, I'm like about to pass out.
You're like, yeah. Well, I was
like my vision will go black, and a lot of times I'll have to sit back down.
I think everyone has that a little bit. If you have it every time, though, that's bad. That is bad. That reminded me. I passed out twice. Yeah, I passed out twice, and both the times they were in school. And I kind of feel like that would be fun, because you just talk about passing out. So I want to talk about passing out. It's funny, I didn't think we had a ton of injuries and things like this. And then as we're talking about them and I'm hearing you, I'm like, oh.
I know, I'm doing the same thing.
Because this isn't even necessarily an injury. Like, I wasn't hurt when I passed out, but it was wild. And they were both at school. I've almost passed out. Okay, so I passed out officially. I got a certificate of passing out. Like, I don't know why I said officially. Completely twice. Both at school. The third time, I almost passed out, and it was also at school. This time I was in 5th grade, and one of my friends was like, just so you know, there's a pressure point behind your ear, and if you push it really hard, you could die. I was like, no, you won't. And I pushed it so hard, and I sat down, and I was like, see, I didn't die. And then I stood up to get a whiteboard, because you're supposed to get whiteboards for, like, something we were doing, and erasers, and I stood up, and as I was getting it, I was like, the pixels came in of black, and I fell, and I wake up, and I'm like looking at the bookshelf, and I'm like, and the carpet that was clearly school carpet, like the cheapest, awful, worst feeling thing ever. And I was like, where am I? Like, I didn't understand. I was like, this looks like school. Why am I sleeping? Like, didn't make any sense. Yeah. And I like look up, and like tons of people are just surrounding me, like students or my friends and everything. So I must not have been passed out for very long, because the second I saw them, I like jumped up and I was like, I'm okay. They're like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm okay. And I sat back down and started doing work.
What did the friend do that told you that?
I don't know if she was even in that class.
Oh.
I think she told me at recess.
Well, then how did she go, see, I didn't die?
She must have been, but it was a group of people that she had told.
Oh.
But I think she must have been in that class, because why would I be telling them? I don't think she sat near me, though. But I think I went and told her, see, I'm fine. And then I went to get the whiteboard and passed out. That's what happened. You're right. She would have been in my class. That's stupid that I didn't think so. But
that's crazy.
My teacher didn't see. And I'm so happy she didn't. I don't know, because it must have been really fast. But she somehow did not see it, and I was so happy about that.
And no one told?
No. I told my mom when I got home. I was fine after that. But
still?
Oh, I know it's bad. But the second time I passed out was in 8th grade. It seemed to be an every 3-year thing. Yeah, literally. Okay, so this time I was in health class. And I was sick that day. I already didn't feel good. And we had to go to this one teacher. Remember, there was 2 health teachers. The really nice one and the really mean one.
Yep.
I'm not gonna say their names. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I had the nice one. But that day we were going to the mean health teacher's class.
I had the mean one.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
Just whispered her name. So
yeah.
But that day we were talking about organ donation. which like I'm a donor on my license. Like I have no problem with that. But like talking about it that day was not it. It was hitting really bad. It was hitting different and not in a good way. Because next thing I know, I was like one of 4 students who didn't get a desk. There wasn't enough desks, so I just had to sit at a chair. So I start blacking out, and I don't know where to go. So I just like fall off the chair clearly, because then I wake up again, like laying, like what do you call this? Laying flat on my back, looking up, and like somebody is like stroking my head, and I like the nurse, and I was like,
why
so stroking my head?
Your head?
I don't know. Weird. And I was like laying there. What is happening? Because again, I was like,
how long were you? Do you think?
I don't know. I wish I could ask. I wish I had like thought of how long was I passed out. Whatever. I was passed out. It took me a minute to come to and be like, oh my gosh, stand up. Like, what are you doing? They're like, slow down. Like, I was apparently standing up too fast for them. They were worried I was going to pass out again. And the one mean health teacher comes over and she's like, what was bugging you in the thing we were talking about? And I was like, nothing. Like, I genuinely was sick that day. And I think that was just like, would totally be normal and then would totally be fine on a normal day. Like, that doesn't bug me. But like being sick and just like seeing like that, I think it just threw me over the edge. So I was like, nothing. Like, I really wasn't feeling good. And she's like, uh-huh. Ew. But it like really was like, I didn't feel like it was because that threw me over. But it wasn't like, I was fine, I'm fine. Oregon, pass out. Like, it wasn't. But I wish I had a desk because we were on like this.
And then it would have been fine. She'd probably been like, get up.
She would have even noticed, probably. But like, I had a chair. My mom later when I was telling my mom. But when you're passing out, are you thinking about that?
No.
Now, sure, yeah, because I've had experience of it happening. But as a 13, 12-year-old, no, I wasn't thinking about put my head between my legs. I wasn't even worried about that. But then the next class I had gym. Okay.
Did you go home?
Remember we had to run them. No, I didn't go home.
I would have went home.
Remember you had to run the mile every week?
Uh-huh.
Update on that. They don't have to do it every week now. My brother just entered 7th grade. They do it 3 times a quarter, 6 times total. You got to do it every single Monday.
Monday, yeah.
Every Monday. They have to do it 3 times a quarter. I got so upset when he told me that, by the way. I was like, are you kidding me? I'm glad it's better for you, but I had to suffer. And we got graded on if we got it under a certain amount of minutes. They're not. It's just participation. I'm so happy they did that. But I'm so angry it wasn't like that because that to me, this is not what this is about. But I want to go on a rant about it because I'm getting like angry. But to me, exercise shouldn't be something that you're punished on the ability to do it. If I participated and did it at all, no matter the amount of time it took me, because I think if you didn't get under 9 minutes, you got slightly lower grade, right? Was it 9 minutes?
13
minutes? Maybe I had a more picky teacher.
I think it was 13.
Okay, but
because there was people that
would get you're right. Minutes. You're right. It was probably 13, 12, 13, something like that. But to get that, you pretty much had to run the whole thing to get about 11 minutes, 10 minutes. You couldn't walk at all. It was hard. We did it outside. Hello, allergies.
And in the cold, too.
In the cold, it didn't matter. They made you do it. And it was hard. Like, I always did it, but only barely. But I'm so happy because if you're, one sec, sorry. But if you're encouraged for this thing to get participation for doing it, you're going to have a much better relationship with wanting to exercise. Yeah. You're going to want to because you got points for doing it. And my later gym classes were like that. Like, we didn't have to run the mile, but you got participation for trying. Like, it was about having fun.
Yeah.
But that class was not. That was like suffer, get it done, grade it on your
Fit for Life was fun. That was not for fun.
I actually took that one online, and it was a lot better because you could choose what type of exercises you wanted to do. It wasn't like forcing you.
So I guess my last one is when I broke both of my ankles.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And
she's saying mine are worse, and this is her worst injury.
I really do think yours are worse. But so in 10th grade this happened, and it happened at school. I was going to a school where I didn't know anyone because the boundary had changed. So I was supposed to go to a different school, the one that Eric went to, but the boundary changed, so I had to go to some random one.
Which is stupid and upsetting.
Yeah, a different one that none of my friends were going to. And only Eric stayed in touch.
Which we talked about that in the last episode, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah, I think we do. But I love that we're friends still.
Me too.
Anyway, so 10th grade, it was the second week of school, I think.
It's been a long time.
I can't even remember.
It's been almost 6 years.
No, I think we were both in there. I'm not for sure, but I'm like looking around. I'm like, I do not know any of these people. And I'm like, and then it dawns on me, flex is a thing. And I'm like, and the bell's already rung. And so I like leave the classroom and my friend, I don't think we were in the same class, but it doesn't matter. We're walking together and we're like, we gotta get to our flex class.
She wasn't worried about being tardy.
Yeah, but I was. I walked down because there's like a giant set of stairs that was like 12, and I just like quickly walk down them, and then I like run across the commons, and I'm running across these 6 stairs that go deeper kind of into the school. I jump, I just leap up over them, and I land, and I did not land right, and my ankle. I can still, if I think about it, I can still hear how it snapped.
Gosh.
And it went, and
both, right?
Well, they both broke, but both didn't dislocate.
Oh gosh. Okay.
So the one that went, it dislocated and broke. The way it dislocated is not common at all.
Oh.
And so
of course.
It dislocated and broke. And so it's like at an awkward angle. And so I'm like on the ground looking at that, and I'm like, I can't stand up. And so there's this girl, and she comes and she's like, do I need to pick you up? And I'm like, yeah, I think so. She literally, like the Hulk, picks me up.
Wow.
Takes me to the office, which was so close by.
But still, it's not like you could have walked.
Yeah. And she picks me up, takes me in. They see my ankle. They take me into the nurse's office, and I'm laying there. And one of like the counselor people, she's like, there's these like student aides that are helping, and then one of the teachers who's like medical professional, because they have to have some of those teachers. Mm-hmm. She came down, and they're trying to set my ankle, but the awkward angle it was at, they couldn't use like the thing to set it. They had to use a pillow to set my ankle.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like crying because I just got back into soccer, and so I couldn't play soccer because I just broke my ankles.
That ended that.
And we didn't even know my other ankle was broken until we got to the hospital.
Are you serious?
Sorry, this is the longest story ever.
No, it's our last worst one, so I expect it to be.
And so I'm like crying, and the tears are running into my eyes. One of the vice principals like, I'm an optimist. You need to look at this like optimistic. And I'm like annoyed. I'm sitting here crying because it's starting to hurt. Like, because at first it didn't hurt at all because of the endorphins.
And the shock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that? Okay.
Yeah. And so it's like, it doesn't hurt. And then like after those wear off, the adrenaline and everything, it's like painful. Feels like a fire is lit inside of my ankle. They had to call my mom. She came. We didn't ride in the ambulance.
That's good. You saved a lot of money that way.
Yeah, it does save a lot of money, and that was the whole point. But and I'm like, there's tears in my ears because I was crying and laying down. So it was going in. So they were like wiping my tears.
That's an awful place to get tears.
I know. And then they had to call my mom. My mom comes, and they get me on a stretcher and wheel me out to my mom's truck. And I have to be in the back seat, like laying across the back seat because I can't put my ankle down. No. We have to go to my house, okay? My ankle's burning, freaking on fire, hurting so bad. We have to go pick up my dad at our house.
Just not close to the school.
No. And my brother, because my dad was watching my brother, and we had to take my little brother to the babysitter.
Oh my gosh.
And then go to the hospital.
Your dad should have just met you guys or something.
I know. There's no, like...
That's really weird.
Mm-hmm. And then we go to the hospital. We go through the emergency way. And they get me on a stretcher, wheel me into the emergency room. Mm-hmm. Which, good thing we went through the emergency room because our insurance at the time didn't cover that hospital. but they only covered it part of it
ER.
because we came to the emergency room.
Right.
And so they had to get my ankle back in place. And I'm like, I was wearing some cute clothes. I'm like, please don't cut my clothes off. And so the guy, because I'm like terrified of needles, quickly, like the fastest thing, puts the IV in. Didn't even feel it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like instantly found a vein and right in. It was amazing. And then they like put this like milky white substance in, and it like I passed out. And they set my ankle, take my clothes off. I'm in a gown. And I asked the doctor, like, because I was loopy, because I was like awake but not,
Yeah.
And I'm like, how old are you? And he's like, how old do you look? And I'm like, 35. And he's like, I'm 40 something. He's like, but that's
I like that.
yeah, and it was funny. And my other ankle felt really stiff. We got that one x-rayed, and they call it a fracture, but like the tendon was off the bone. If that makes sense.
Ew.
The tendon was off the bone, and so that had to be booted, and then my other one was cast, and so I was in a wheelchair, and then after that I was on crutches, and it just took forever.
You got rods in them? Don't you still have one?
I had to go. That's like the most important part.
Yeah, I was like, well, so, you're gonna say that, right?
They after the ER, and they had got it set and everything, and like put us like a makeshift cast, like to set it and keep it set, and then a boot on my other one.
Mm-hmm.
They put me into peds.
Mm.
You know what that is,
yeah.
Right? And I'm there. I had to pee in a bedpan because I couldn't go up. I couldn't get up to go to the bathroom, so I had to like lift myself up and pee in a bedpan. Do you know how awful peeing in a bedpan is?
That sounds so terrible.
Absolutely horrible.
That actually sounds like the worst part.
Yeah, it was. And they wanted to wait till the next morning to do surgery. By then, I'm like freaking hungry because I don't think I ate breakfast. Yeah, and I hadn't had anything since 9 the day before. Man, I was so hungry.
Oh, I bet.
Starving. And then so we went down because I had to get surgery because it was broke on both. Like the tibia and the fibula at the ends were both broken in my ankle. And so I had to get surgery, and going down to surgery was horrible because I'm like I'm so hungry that I'm nauseous and I'm like throwing up, and I'm nervous, so that's not helping. No. They had to put like a cold rag on my head, and my mom's right there. And
oh my gosh.
Then they wheeled me into surgery, and I remember getting onto the metal table, and then I don't remember anything until after the surgery, where I'm like huddled in a warm blanket, and I'm like waking up from surgery. And I had a metal plate and 8 screws in my ankle. And I got the metal plate and 6 screws out, but 2 screws are still in because they'll never come out. Because if they did, I wouldn't be able to, walk. So yeah.
That's probably the worst one I've ever heard for injury.
It was definitely an experience.
Yeah.
It's like I was looking the other day, and it's quite a few years now.
It's almost 6.
It is almost 6.
This August.
Yep. And I thought that was absolutely crazy.
That's a really bad story.
Mm-hmm. I guess it's fun now.
I guess. I would say my worst injury was when I was maybe 5 or 6 also. Don't know why they're all around 5 or 6. That kind of sucks. I guess that's when you get injured the most. But I was at Walmart. There was something on like the top shelf that I really wanted. Mm-hmm. So my 5-year-old was like, my 5-year-old brain, my 5-year-old, I don't have a child. When I was 5, my brain was like, climb on the shelf. Use the cart in the shelf and climb to get it. Mm-hmm. Don't ask your parents. Climb. So I did. I started climbing and slipped off the cart because the cart started moving or something. I don't remember exactly how it happened. I just all of a sudden was falling.
Yeah.
And I hit my mouth super hard on the side of the cart. Uh-huh. And a couple of the teeth on the bottom pierced through my lip and kind of part of my cheek. I don't even remember. I think I was just in shock because I don't remember really what happened after that. But then we go to the ER in my parents' car. They get me into the ER. They wrap me like they were like, we're gonna wrap you like a taco because they had to wrap me so tight so I wouldn't move while they were. They're gonna give me stitches, by the way. So they wrapped me so tight because when you're 5, especially, you're gonna move.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get stitches on the outside. I got stitches on the inside of my mouth. I couldn't feel it happening. Like I couldn't feel like the nerves. But you know when something's happening and they've like numbed you or whatever?
Yeah.
You feel the pressure.
Oh yeah.
So I could feel the pressure and the movement of them stitching. Like I could feel the string like moving through my lip. They were like going through. I'm stitching the inside of my mouth.
Yeah.
And they gave you like the dissolvable stitches because that was bad and obviously like terrible that my teeth went through my lip. But later, I was at like months later, probably not months, maybe a month. We were at Texas Roadhouse. I was eating a piece of steak and it was kind of chewy because I would like ask them to make my steak like basically completely cooked, like no pink, which is so gross. Like now I like much prefer it on the pinker side, which is so funny. But so it was super chewy. But while biting, I accidentally bit my cheek/lip because it was like a circle inside my mouth is what it felt like. I don't know what it looked like, but it felt like almost a circle chunk of like gum and like cheek flesh.
That does not sound good.
No, it sounds awful. And there was a tiny piece of the stitches hanging out. Oh no. Because they're starting to dissolve, so they're breaking, and I bit it.
No.
And it pulled out. And this is a month later. I felt whatever part hadn't dissolved pull through. Like, you know, it's like, I'm like doing this with my fingers, like a snake. No. Like it felt like it was coming out. I could feel it coming out. That. Again, healing pain is way worse.
Oh, yeah.
It hurt so bad. So bad because I bit the stitch out. And it was fast, but it felt slow. Because it was maybe seconds. But in my brain, it was like, this is never ending. And so I felt the stitches coming out because I bit it.
That's horrible.
That's my worst one.
I do not like that.
Me neither.
Sounds like it hurts.
It hurt really bad, but glad I was so little I barely remember it. Because if that happened now,
that just sounds
they
awful.
They weren't completely dissolved. Most of them were.
Yeah.
But one long line was not.
That sounds awful.
But yeah, that was awful. Well, that's my worst one. So.
Aren't those the most yummy, delicious, nutritious injuries you've ever heard?
We still have some more injuries, so we'll probably do another episode at some point. And if you have any suggestions for upcoming episodes, our email and Instagram is in our bio, and we'd love to hear from you.
You can also leave us a comment directly on Spotify if that's where you listen.
Bye, you guys.
See ya.